Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about what went down over the weekend at Union Square, because Kai Cenat, a Twitch streamer that I've never heard of, that I'm not aware of, decided to announce that he was going to give away a PlayStation 5, a bunch of PCs, and a bunch of gift cards at Union Square without, informing people or figuring out a way to organize it. And this led to an absolute disaster, people getting injured, people getting arrested, officers getting injured, cars getting destroyed, an absolute riot, total mayhem, total chaos, and we need to discuss how insane this actually was. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who signed up over my website, actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners on Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform.
On Friday, we'll be doing a huge giveaway.
With those few words and a flyer with the location, word spread among the millions of subscribers. Attendees told they'll get PCs, PS5s, and $100 gift cards.
We gonna go crazy for New York, man.
So yeah, needless to say, when you're a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, or anybody on social media with thousands of followers, and you decide that you are going to impromptu give away thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, gift cards, or whatever to your fan base, you need to coordinate, you need to figure out the logistics of the situation, otherwise you're going to end up in complete and utter chaos. Now, of course, Kai, like many Twitch streamers, is an absolute doof, so he did not do so. So the scene that erupted in Union Square at Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon was an abject disaster, and the rowdy group of teenagers that ended up showing up decided that they were going to have a full-scale riot, because why not? They were all gathered up in a large group, and they were dancing on cars, they broke into a construction site, they were hurling bricks, and all sorts of other chaotic means, and you could just look at some of the footage for yourself to see how bad it actually got.
300 kids to a couple of thousand kids in minutes. We have to be responsible when we use this tool.
No permits were obtained for Friday's giveaway at Union Square Park. NYPD Chief Jeffrey Madry says its entertainment unit, which keeps an eye on events like this spreading through social media, was aware of the event, but not of its potential growth.
If we knew about this, we could have had the barriers out here, we could have police officers out here, we could have did this orderly.
Now this should be a no-brainer for all of you out there watching this video that Kai was definitely in the wrong. He has since been arrested and charged by the NYPD with several counts, including an unlawful assembly, inciting a riot, and all sorts of things. And when you're in a major metropolitan area and you have a bunch of ordinances and regulations and permit requirements, you can understand how it is sufficient in terms of the law to charge this individual with his actions. However, of course, I'm going to tell you this, that because this happened in the city of Manhattan, because Kai happens to be a black person, the charges will eventually be dropped, mitigated, reduced, to the point where no consequences will be paid by this Twitch streamer. And one of the reasons why that's definitely the case is that the narrative of the online left is that this was not out of hand, this was not chaotic, ignore all the videos, ignore all the footage. What's actually going on is that you're an evil white racist. Now, we talked about this in relation to Jank's nephew the other day. I'll play some of his idiotic and buffoonish commentary for you right now.
You know what this is? This is racist, okay? Straight up. Yeah, they're rowdy. They're rowdy teenagers. They're making it seem like this is an organized crime ring. The one time you see like a bunch of black teenagers around, you're like, oh my God, guys. I think Kai being black and his audience being like black as well also will factor into the way that the media covers this. You know what I mean? But the way that this will be received by a broader audience will absolutely be seen from the lens of white supremacy.
And for a certain segment of the population, that's actually the narrative. The real villain in this story, in reality, in actuality, is your evil white racism. Stop being evil white racist. Evil white racism.
Very big riot. It was just out of control. It was just a whole movie, mad people, a lot of mad chaos.
Now, I made sure to cut to some of the evil white racists right there, calling it a riot, calling it a chaotic situation, so that Jank's nephew and all of the professional left, who, by the way, would never go anywhere near this large group of people while they're rioting. This has been proven out by Jank's nephew going to the Black Lives Matter riots and leaving 3 hours before sundown after he stated that it was totally peaceful and a civil rights movement. Maybe he thought this was a civil rights movement. movement because, you know, it looked quite similar to what we saw post George Floyd, but those are the evil white racists claiming that it's a riot.
Thousands flooded Union Square, and when Cenat showed up, chaos ensued.
So as you can see, that's actually the SUV that the Twitch streamer is in. It's being mobbed by a bunch of people. He eventually had to drive through the crowd. Now, I understand that the situation was chaotic, and when you're being mobbed by a crowd, it makes sense to drive through it, but I just want to point out that this guy's piloting an SUV, or has somebody piloting an SUV, through a crowd of unruly teenagers, and as this event ended up expanding, as people became aware of it, as it got out of hand, more and more people are showing up, and he fled from the event that he failed to organize. And I just want to point out that we've seen similar situations like this before. I remember one of the years of VidCon, Jake Paul or Logan Paul, who the hell cares, they're the same exact person, said that they had hid products in and around the VidCon area, and thus it was chaotic when people started looking for it. They were also walking the floor, which is not allowed by VidCon. That was also chaotic, and there were condemnations and all that for the Paul brothers for violating the rules and causing this chaos at that event. But again, the online left, the professional woke offended, like Jank's nephew, have decided to paint this as no big deal, nothing went wrong, everything is all okay, don't worry about it, because honestly, in reality, in actuality, you're just evil white racists. I mean, you see the footage of people destroying stuff, they got into the construction site, paint is being strewn about, bricks are being chucked in the crowd at one another, the police had to arrest 65 people in order to try to defuse the situation, there are objects being hurled at the police, but all of that video evidence, you know what that actually is evidence of? Your evil white racism.
This event grew exponentially, rapidly, fast. And again, this is the power of social media.
According to the NYPD, once Union Square was wall-to-wall kids, there was no stopping the destruction. Subway service was suspended in the area, streets were shut down, construction equipment was used as weapons. Bottles were hurled, some thought they heard gunshots. Turns out it was firecrackers.
Now, I'll also add that the fireworks being present, those being thrown around, the breaking into the construction site, all the stuff that I told you about that you can actually see on the videos, unless you're Jank's nephew, then you don't see it, you just see the KKK rounding up innocent angel black people on their way to their Baptist church. You can see that it actually indicates bad intent by the crowd. Why do you have a bunch of fireworks if this was just going to be an orderly giveaway where you were going to get your PlayStation 5 or your gift card or your PC? Obviously, when you look at what's going on here, obviously this was chaotic. Obviously the crowd had bad intent. Obviously, they were acting criminally, they were attacking people, they had to shut down subway service, block off entire streets. The chaos was real, it was present, unless, of course, you're somebody on the professional left, then you didn't see anything, and these innocent angels didn't do nothing.
It was riotous conduct verging on illegal and dangerous behavior.
Young people destroyed our vehicles. My car's destroyed. Commissioner Daughtry's car's destroyed. Other police vehicles are destroyed. They destroyed food carts. They destroyed stores. When we started clearing the young people out here, young people ran through the streets of this city, taking plates off people who are outside dining, throwing their plates at police officers.
Cenat has yet to make a formal statement on any of his social channels. He's still being questioned by the NYPD, who say charges are forthcoming.
Again, this officer, obviously another evil white racist, look at his evil white racism, talking about the chaos that ensued. People were outside dining. Again, there was no preparation for this event, and these innocent angels grabbed their plates, probably because they were starving, and when they realized that the evil capitalist white supremacist system would deny them food, they had to hurl it at the police because they are the enforcers of that evil white racism, and the whole thing about looting stores, obviously they were trying to feed their starving family, probably they were at the giveaway in order to get the PlayStations to feed their family those PS5 games. That's probably what was going on, and of course, obviously this is a chaotic situation, and but for the fact that the Twitch streamer is a black male, but for the fact that this crowd was largely black males, largely young black people, we would be covering it as such. However, we have to push back against the left-wing narrative because they're deciding to inject all this politics into it, claiming that the evil orange man didn't receive this level of consequences, whatever nonsense that they want to put forward, and all these other things in order to obfuscate the issue that this was completely chaotic. I mean, again, imagine if you're running a food cart and you just have your cart obliterated by these people. We saw the clip of the newsstand guy where he goes out to protect his stuff. He gets assaulted over and over again by these people. They start punching him in the head, and he's just trying to do his job. He's trying to not be damaged. And you also have restaurants and all of this that end up dealing with the mob attacking customers, grabbing plates off their tables, and all sorts of other chaotic moments that a normal sane country and a normal sane left would acknowledge got completely out of hand. But of course, you have to make everything racist, so you noticing is the problem. You looking at the videos is the issue. And by the way, some people on the right that were incredibly stupid that tweeted out that this was a Black Lives Matter event without noticing or knowing anything about this, they deserve condemnation for spreading misinformation, because there's no need to lie about something that is this bad. There is no need to inject further politics into something that is already being used by one side to divide people.
65 people were arrested today, 30 of them underage. Cenat boasts over 20 million subscribers on Twitch and millions more on YouTube and other channels. He's a kid from the Bronx who made it big during the pandemic, reaching the kind of fandom rarely experienced by even some of the biggest celebrities and entertainers in the world.
Look, I got nothing against this Kai guy. Kid from the Bronx ends up becoming successful, except for the fact that he did this. He was responsible for this. He incited this riot. He ended up not informing who you needed to inform. And considering he's quite successful on Twitch, he has a bunch of money, he could have done this in a proper way. He didn't have to try to gather his fans in order to have a big thing to get his own name out there at the expense of the business owners, at the expense of the residents in and around this area, at the expense of people working at the businesses in and around this area. I mean, again, imagine you're getting through the pandemic. You had to be locked down due to New York City's absolute craziness. You run a food cart, which was dependent on traffic. You're just recovering from that. People are just returning to the streets of New York, and then all of a sudden, because some ass of a Twitch streamer decided to give out PlayStation 5s and all this without coordinating with the NYPD in order to manage the crowd, your cart is destroyed. Your business is irreparably damaged. Now, I know people think that they got magic insurance. There's just insurance money being sprinkled all around here, so Kai must be a charitable figure because, you know, the insurance will cover everything. But as we found out, that is just not the case. 75% of small businesses are not adequately insured. A bunch of businesses overall also not adequately insured, and even if you are, when you file for a claim, they do everything in their power to deny it. When you file for a claim, they end up raising your premiums after the fact due to the fact that there's damage in this area. So there are long-term economic consequences from this guy deciding that he wanted to do something for his fans, which is all fine and lovely, but didn't care about the consequences, didn't care about getting the proper permits, didn't care about organizing it, and honestly, a lot of these guys want to live off and enjoy the chaos, and that's where this guy is at right now. So yeah, to everybody who's saying that the real issue here is evil white racism, or the system cracking down on a young, successful black man, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you're a buffoon. Obviously, when you look at this chaos, it's indefensible. Obviously, the person who incited this chaos should be held accountable. Think about all the financial damage that was done not just to city property, but to private property, and there should be consequences. And eventually, I expect Alvin Bragg to go with the mob of leftists and reduce the charges to the point where they don't exist. But I hope civil action is taken against Kai, and I hope he pays through the nose for the damage that he caused. I hope that he suffers the consequences of this, that he's ashamed of himself, and that people regard him with less virtuous status, because he definitely deserves this. People got hurt because of this. Officers got hurt. 65 kids have arrest records right now. That is all on him, and I hope that he enjoys his arrest, because he definitely deserves it as well. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the streamer Kai causing a riot. Till next time.